Hi everyone. Welcome back to Daytona Office Hours, whereas every week we go over some of the significant changes that occurred in the past week and what we have coming up in the next few days. So I'll start as always by sharing my screen. Yep. And we can go over some of the changes that happened on our GitHub repository. We still haven't gone back to regular releases, but we are planning to do that starting from next week. But if we take a look at the commits, and all of these commits are actually deployed on our Daytona cloud, for example, one of the most interesting features is expiring API keys. So now you can, when creating an API key, you can define a custom expiry date where you basically choose when that API key will expire. After it expires, you need to create a new one if you want to continue using Daytona. Then we have maintenance mode. This is just a mode of our API that enables us to conveniently disable all API actions and put the API in maintenance mode, which will basically alert all users that the API is currently undergoing maintenance and just return the appropriate error. Then maybe some of the interesting dashboard features is the announcement banner, which I'll get into in a few moments. That will show an announcement banner on top of the dashboard. We also added a chat widget in the dashboard, so you can directly chat with our support team when you are on the dashboard. Also some fixes, and also one maybe interesting feature is OTel tracing. So basically our backend now has the ability to send the open telemetry metrics, traces, and logs into our telemetry backend, and this will also be useful very soon when we launch the official support for deploying Daytona locally or in your own setup. Then that's basically some of the most interesting changes that happened since the past week. And now to get into what we have coming up. Two weeks ago, I think I mentioned one of the biggest PRs that we have open, and it's still open, and it's mostly covered by our engineers, Ivan and Mirko. It's a PR called Component Naming Refactor, and in this PR, a lot of changes are happening. For example, we are renaming sandbox snapshots to backups because they are actually backups of the file system of that sandbox, and the backup just is basically like a just-in-case scenario where if some of our infrastructure fails, that we have a point to get back to the sandbox once we restore it. We made some internal changes from nodes to runner. I don't think this is reflected anywhere on the user side. This is just some internal renaming. But the most significant changes that are actually user-facing is the rename of the image to snapshot. And this change will affect all users going forward. We'll get into some of the breaking changes happening with this as well. And also workspace to sandbox. This is more of an internal change because the current workspace entity or model is actually called sandbox in the SDK. This is just an API change. And if you go to the dashboard right now, you can notice that we do have an announcement banner saying that we will have temporary maintenance on Sunday, June 15th, 3 a.m. Pacific time. And in this maintenance window, we plan on deploying all these changes and making some very small breaking changes to the SDK. And if you want to learn more about this, you can click here and go to our blog post, which covers all of the important changes. And I'll just cover briefly some of the more important ones right now. So if you read through this, you'll see that the new version of the SDK will be 0.21.0, and this version will actually will be the version that implements all of these changes. And the suggested approach once we release this is that all users upgrade to the new SDK as soon as possible. And in this blog post, you'll see the migration timeline, you'll see the date of the migration and the maintenance notice. So we will start the deployment process on May 15th, sorry, on June 15th. We'll need to correct this in the blog post. So June 15th at 3 a.m. Pacific time, and we expect that the maintenance of the API will last at most 30 minutes, but we will keep you updated on all of our socials in regards to how the maintenance is going. And some of the key changes that are happening in this release are the image creation is transitioning into snapshot creation, which I mentioned briefly before. Some improvements to to creation parameters when creating a sandbox. We also renamed some key functions, and also we have a snapshot service which will allow you to easily create, delete, and inspect snapshots from the SDK. And here you will also, in the blog post, you'll also have all the snippets from from the previous version of the SDK and the version that is coming up on Sunday. I won't get into the details of these code snippets, but that's all here if you want to take a look and prepare for the release. Lastly, I think down on the bottom, you should see the migration checklist. This is basically let's say, a condensed view for what users will need to do once they upgrade, because all of these are breaking changes. But the thing is, the breaking changes are in regards to these resources right here. But we made the changes to the API in a, let's say, gradual way, and we kept all the old APIs intact. So if you don't upgrade immediately to the new version of the SDK, you will still be able to use the Daytona API, but we will let's say, sunset that API at some point in the future, when we will, of course, notify all users when we do so. But the, let's say, recommended approach when Sunday comes along is to upgrade the SDKs as soon as possible. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on Slack, on X, on email, or via the new support widget, which is right here in the dashboard, where you have live access to our support agents. And that's it for the release that's coming up on Sunday. It's a big one, and we hope everything goes smoothly. That's it for this office hours. If anyone has any questions, of course, you can stop me at any point and ask, or if not, that's it for these office hours, and see you again next week, where we will go over the new changes that occurred in the maintenance window of Sunday. Thank you all, and see you next week.